All right, let's talk about one of the most controversial ingredients out there, monosodium glutamate. You know it as MSG. It's a name that gets a lot of people talking, a lot of debate, but what's the real story? Let's dig in. So here's the big question we're tackling today. Is MSG just a harmless trick to make our food taste amazing, or is it actually a health hazard we should be trying to avoid? We're going to look at the claims, the science, and, some of the really surprising places it's hiding. So first up, let's get into why MSG has such a bad rap. For decades, it's been painted as this big, bad villain in the food world, getting blamed for a whole bunch of, not so great symptoms.
There's even a name for these reactions, MSG's symptom complex. Now, it's super important to know, this isn't an official allergy or a formal medical diagnosis. It's really just a catch-all term for the symptoms some people say they get after eating foods with MSG. So, what are they actually feeling?
Well, the list of reported symptoms is pretty wide. People have pointed the finger at MSG for everything from headaches and hives to some more serious-sounding reactions like throat swelling, itching, and belly pain. This list right here is basically the foundation for the entire controversy.
Okay, so that's the case against MSG. But to really get what's going on, we have to ask a pretty basic question. What even is this stuff? Time to get into the science of it all.
Scientifically, MSG is just the sodium salt of something called L-glutamic acid. And L-glutamic acid is one of the most common amino acids found in nature. I mean, it's literally a building block for proteins, both in our own bodies and in the food we eat.
And here's where it gets really interesting. That main component, glutamate, it's not some weird chemical cooked up in a lab. It's actually found naturally in a ton of whole foods, foods you and I would probably consider pretty healthy.
Yep, that's right. You know that incredible savory, umami flavor you get from a perfectly ripe tomato or a good aged Parmesan cheese? A big part of that is thanks to naturally occurring glutamate. To your body, the glutamate from a tomato and the glutamate from MSG are basically indistinguishable.
Okay, so knowing that, you're probably wondering, where is the added MSG? Let's do a quick fire round of the common processed foods where it's used to amp up the flavor.
You'll definitely find it in fast food. It gives that extra savory kick to chicken from places like Chick-fil-A and KFC.
It's kind of the secret weapon behind that bet you can't eat just one quality in snacks like Doritos and Pringles.
You'll see it in seasoning blends and bouillon cubes. It's often used to make lower sodium products that still have a big flavor punch.
Oh yeah, it's a huge player in the freezer aisle, making frozen pizzas and dinners taste just a little bit better.
And it's in those comforting classics, like a can of chicken noodle soup.
It's also super common in processed meats. Think hot dogs, beef jerky, you name it.
And yep, even in your condiments, from ketchup to salad dressing.
And finally, of course, it's the magic behind that little flavor packet in most instant noodles. So the takeaway? It's in way more things than you probably realized.
Okay, so MSG is everywhere. We've established that. But is it actually bad for us? This is where we put the hype up against the actual scientific findings. Let's see what the research really says.
So on one side, you have the hype, this idea that MSG is directly causing headaches, fatigue, all of it. But on the other side, we have the science. A huge review of 40 different studies found that a lot of the research linking MSG to these problems was frankly flawed. Scientists have really struggled to prove again and again that MSG is the real cause of these reactions. The hard clinical evidence just isn't there.
And for some context, let's talk numbers. The average person in the US and the UK consumes about half a gram of added MSG per day, so 0.55 grams. Just keep that number in your head for a second. Because the research that did show some negative effects, like headaches, used really high doses. We're talking more than 3 grams a day. That is almost 6 times the average amount. So while it's possible to eat that much, it's pretty unlikely for most of us just eating normal meals.
And what do the big health organizations have to say? Well, in the US, the FDA has it on their generally recognized as safe list. The World Health Organization thinks it's so safe they haven't even set a daily limit for it. And Europe's Food Safety Authority? Their acceptable daily intake is still way, way higher than what most people would ever eat.
So we've looked at the hype, we've looked at the science. What's the bottom line? What's the one thing you should walk away with?
And this, right here, might be the most important point. The real health concern might not be the MSG itself, but the kinds of foods it shows up in. You know, the chips, the fast food, the frozen meals. These foods are often low in nutrients and high in sodium,
unhealthy fats, and a bunch of other additives. Which really leaves us with one final big question. Is MSG really the villain we've made it out to be? Or have we just been blaming the flavor enhancer for the issues with the ultra-processed foods it hangs out with? It's something to think about the next time you're reading an ingredient label. Thanks for digging into this with us.